Hello guys. So now I'll be taking my old example which I used in CSS for explaining position property in CSS to explain clear and float. Okay, so let me change the topic. Clear and float. Okay. So now what I mean, so where we will be using float in our real world websites or apps that you guys will be making. So, how basically float works is, so when you define a particular layout, just in case, like, just see this UL container, it has certain LIs in it, inside it, okay, and these are actually arranged in a particular order, as each LI is a block level element. So, all of them are like, what you can say, stacked one after another, right? If you give a float to any of these LIs, it will actually break out of that particular flow. Okay, so just to like, I actually made a class called Child Notorious, and I gave, let's give it float, right? Okay, and this will work. Okay, so I'm giving it Notorious. As you saw, all the three allies are in their respective flows only, but the third ally actually went out of the flow, and also I gave it a float right, so it actually got floated to the right. Okay, so what, how float is works is that it actually breaks out of the flow and moves into its own space altogether, right? So our fourth ally became the third ally, and the third ally, which was gift Jake DSLR, actually got detached from the particular flow and went into its own flow. As we use right, we could have also used left, and we'll go to left. Okay? Okay, let's change it to right. Sorry. Just a sec. Yeah. So this was float right. Okay. Just say I want something like, so basically you can use float in multiple applications. Some of the common applications that I have seen using, which actually use floats, are that when you have images and you have content. So you must have seen that the images are on the one side and the contents are at the another. So in those cases, we actually apply float on the image tag to float that element to its to a particular direction, right? So I will actually show you an example using that, but let's see this example only. What I want is, I want two element on this side and I want two element on this side. So how can we do this using floats? Okay, so just say let these classes to be child only. I can give both of these allies child notorious classes. Okay, okay, so now if I do it like, just a sec, yeah, okay, so and I give the child class float left. uh, you must be seeing something here, is that basically how float actually word over here is, when I give the float left to both these allies, the first one got basically the float was applied on the first ally. After that, the float got applied to the second ally. Because of that, they're actually they're actually like following a particular like a linear order, but they're actually stacked onto one another if you see. Okay, so if, so in these cases, when you don't want a floating element to get stacked onto a particular content or get stacked onto one another, we use clear. Okay, So basically, it clears that floating element from its own region or container, right? So if I want to clear, if I do it like clear left, you saw it that at first gift this the gift Jake DSLR was actually stacked out. Like, let me remove this first, and then we'll see. Okay, and this point it is stacked onto this li, right? If I apply clear left, it actually got shifted onto the next line. Why? But as I told you, when you say clear left, so what clear left is say clear left is like it means that, hey, is there any floating element on my left? Yes, is it? Okay, then I don't want to be with him. So it actually gets shifted to the next line. Okay, in this, the rest two allies, we have a child notorious class, and you can see these are also stacked onto one another. And what if I want to make it on the next line? What I will say? Hey, do I have any floating element on the right side of mine? If the answer is yes, please, like I don't want to be with him. So if I say here clear right, as you see, it actually got separated. Okay, yeah, as I told you, it will get shifted to the next line. Okay, so there are many cases when a particular container has both like left and right elements are both float element, right? So in those cases you can use clear both. So in my case, I have in the parent, which is the li, which has a background of pink, as you can see. If I do something this, just say this, and you must be wondering why the hell did where the hell did that pink color went, right? So what I told you, float actually detaches it from the current flow and comes over that particular container, right? So in our present case, the container of these allies is the UL with the class parent, right? So when these allies got detached flow, some went two went to the right, two went to left. It actually what you can say, it the parent that was containing them actually collapsed because of these floating elements, right? So this happens in many cases when we use floats. So a way around for this is that, first of all, I don't want to clear a floating element on my right or left, because in the present case the parent has both left and right, right? So I want, can you can use the third option over here, which is clear both. Okay, you can also see there's like no improvement, like I basically I can't see my pink color again, right? I want to see my pink color. So there's a very nice, can say kind of like a hack, but yeah, it's not a hack. I will tell you why. If you do overflow auto, what it actually did is, you must be familiar with overflow, that if a particular, like on the x or on the y, if the like if the elements exceeded to a particular width or a container, we it actually adds a scrolling bar, right? In this case, what I mean to say is that when the all the floating elements get detached and the div sorry, not the div, the ul collapses, so it basically uh, just went behind those float elements. Okay, so we weren't able to see it visible. Basically it wasn't visible to us. So when we do overflow auto, it will get visible, and this thing actually works in 99% of cases, and you will surely need this in many applications. So yeah, do remember this thing. Okay, now yeah, so these lists are under two sides. Okay, and yeah, so let's pick some another example. Okay, just like, let me remove this, or not remove, just comment it out and make something new. Just say I have a section. Sorry. Okay, in this section, I want to have an image with the particular source, and the image has some contents, right? As I told you when I started this video session. Okay, this is an image that came from somewhere on Earth. Yeah. Okay, I actually found out an image which is like a cool emoji which we use. Okay, so yeah, there's the image goes. So what actually happened here over here is image element actually takes the whole space around it, right? And it actually pushed that p tag to the next line. Okay, so when you see some articles over, so what is the main like common can say like a for common layout or the markup scheme is that the image is usually on the left and the content is usually on the right, like around the image. So we can do this stuff using floats. So let me give this image tag. So section image, give it a float. I want to float it to left. As you saw, as soon as gave it a float left, the content actually came on the right. Okay, so if you see it now, it's kind of like a, you can see like it's pretty much responsive. So if I actually decrease it, the content will automatically will move to the next line, and as I expand it, it will go over there. So you must be wondering like why it's like on the top side of the image. Actually, image is actually of this side. So if I just inspect it, you will see that it's actually on the exact right of the image. Okay, yeah, there you go. Okay, so just for like just I don't want to have this image being like like left aligned with this content, right? So what can I do is I can give clear to this content. So I can give it a class content, and into this class I can say that I don't want any floating elements on my left, right? So I want to clear my left. There you go. My left got cleared and I don't have any floating elements on my left. So the content got shifted to the bottom of the image. So even if I expand or like shrink it, like things won't get affected much because I actually gave it clear left. Okay. So like hope you guys have now have a like a practical and theoretical knowledge about how float and clear both actually work, and when and where to use this uh, when and where to use these properties, right? Okay, thank you. If you like this web video, do give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks.